Supervolcanoes are not just found in America. In fact, one of the largest is located in Europe. But it's not an obvious candidate. The largest supervolcano in the world is Yellowstone. And if you didn't know that already, then this video isn't going to tell you anything new because it's very well known. But there is more to the story than meets the eye. And now that we're all worried about the possibility of this volcano blowing up and wiping out life as we know it, let's take a look at what else is out there. You might be surprised by what you find. We can't talk about volcanoes without mentioning Yellowstone National Park. It's a beautiful area with geysers and hot springs and wildlife. It's also home to the Yellowstone supervolcano. The Yellowstone supervolcano is located in the northwest corner of Wyoming, and it's roughly 43 by 28 miles wide. It's so large that it would take the entire state of Connecticut and put it into a hole about half the size of the caldera. Not only that, but the massive eruption of 640,000 years ago is thought to have ejected over 2,500 cubic miles of ash and pumice. That's enough to cover the entire United States in a layer of debris nearly 7 feet thick. To say that this place is impressive is an understatement. The sheer size of this volcano is mind-boggling, and the eruptions from it are catastrophic. But there is another supervolcano out there, one that many people don't even know exists. It's the Campi Flegrei supervolcano, located near Naples, Italy. This volcano is 9 miles wide and is made up of 12 craters. The main crater is called the Caldera di S. Maria La Carria, and it's 3 miles across. If it were to erupt, the blast radius would be enormous. Entire cities would be destroyed. There wouldn't be a single building left standing. The death toll would be high, possibly millions. Now compare that to the death toll of the most destructive volcano ever recorded, Mount Tambora, which killed around 92,000 people, and you start to understand why we need to keep an eye on these things. The last time Campi Flegrei erupted was 3,900 years ago, so it's been quiet for a while. But geologists warn us that it will erupt again someday, and when it does, it could be devastating. Yellowstone National Park is a popular tourist destination. Every year, millions of people visit to see the geysers, hot springs, and wildlife. They also come to see the Grand Prismatic Spring. This is one of the most beautiful places in the park, and it's also one of the hottest. The water temperature reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and there are several other hot springs and geysers in the area. All of them are signs of the supervolcano beneath the surface. The heat is coming from the magma chamber below the ground. Sometimes the pressure is released and we get an eruption. A small one can spew boiling water and steam into the air. A larger one can send hot mud and rock flowing down the sides of the volcano. And a really big one could do something that we haven't seen in a very long time: cover the entire planet in ash. Campi Flegrei means burning fields in Latin. The name comes from the fact that the area around the volcano is covered in poisonous gases, and the soil is so hot that nothing grows there. This is another sign that there is a supervolcano beneath the surface. The heat and gases are coming from the magma chamber below the ground. Sometimes the pressure is released and we get an eruption. A small one can spew boiling water and steam into the air. A larger one can send hot mud and rock flowing down the sides of the volcano. And a really big one could do something that we haven't seen in a very long time: cover the entire planet in ash. It's hard to believe that such a disaster could happen today, but it has happened before. Over 500 million years ago, there was a supervolcano eruption in what is now the Atlantic Ocean. The underwater volcano was so powerful that it literally blew itself apart and created a massive caldera. This event had global consequences. Ash and debris fell over much of Europe and Africa. The climate changed drastically, and many species went extinct. It was one of the worst natural disasters in Earth's history, but it was also one of the most important events leading up to the evolution of humans. Life as we know it would not exist without this catastrophe. The Campi Flegrei volcano has been dormant for thousands of years, but scientists are worried that it may be due for an eruption. They're monitoring the area closely for any signs of activity. One of the things they're looking for is an increase in earthquake activity. Earthquakes are often the first sign that a volcano is about to erupt. When magma begins to rise in the magma chamber, it causes the Earth's crust to shift and crack. This releases energy in the form of earthquakes. Scientists are also looking for changes in the shape of the volcano. If the magma chamber begins to fill up, the volcano itself will begin to bulge. This could be a sign that an eruption is imminent. One of the most active areas of the volcano is the Solfatara crater. It's one of the smaller craters within the Campi Flegrei caldera, and it's been erupting regularly for the past few centuries. In 1912, the crater produced a small but violent eruption that sent ash and smoke 10 miles into the air. This was the largest eruption of the volcano in recorded history. Yellowstone National Park is a popular tourist destination. Every year, millions of people visit to see the geysers, hot springs, and wildlife. They also come to see the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. This is one of the most spectacular sights in the park, and it's also one of the most dangerous. The canyon is nearly a mile deep, and the river at the bottom is flowing at over 30 miles per hour. If you fall in, you probably won't survive. The canyon was carved out by the Yellowstone River over millions of years. The river is still carving away at the rock, little by little. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is a reminder that nature is truly powerful. Even the largest and most impressive man-made structures are no match for it. The depth of the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is staggering. It's nearly a mile deep in some places. That's deeper than the Empire State Building is tall. The river at the bottom of the canyon is flowing at over 30 miles per hour. That's faster than most interstate highways. If you were to fall into the river, you would be swept away and most likely drowned. The walls of the canyon are so steep that it's almost impossible to climb out. Even if you managed to get out, you would be injured and exhausted. It's safe to say that if you fell into the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone River, your chances of survival are slim. But it's not just the depth and speed of the river that makes this canyon so dangerous. It's also the raw, natural beauty. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is one of the most beautiful places in the world. The colors are so vibrant and the views are so breathtaking that it's easy to get lost in the moment. People have died simply because they wandered too close to the edge and fell. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is a reminder that nature is truly powerful and it should be respected. No matter how careful you are, there is always some risk when you venture too close to the edge. Just ask anyone who has lost someone or something to the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. In addition to the traditional monitoring methods, scientists are also using new technology to keep tabs on Campi Flegrei. For example, they've developed a computer model that simulates the movement of magma within the volcano. This model allows scientists to track the movement of magma and predict when it may reach the surface. They're also using satellites to monitor changes in the shape of the volcano. Satellites can detect even the smallest changes in elevation, which could indicate that magma is rising. If an eruption is detected, there are several steps that will be taken to try to mitigate the damage. The first step would be to evacuate the surrounding area. This would include the city of Naples as well as the surrounding towns and villages. An evacuation plan has been developed, and it's practiced regularly to make sure that everyone knows what to do in case of an emergency. The next step would be to release the lava somewhere where it wouldn't cause the most damage. This may sound counterintuitive, but it's actually the best course of action. Lava is less dense than rock, so it flows over obstacles instead of blowing them up. This means that a carefully directed lava flow could help to divert the energy of the eruption and prevent massive destruction. This is exactly what happened in 1980 when Mount St. Helens erupted in Washington state. The eruption was so powerful that it blew the top off the mountain. But because the lava flow was directed away from populated areas, the damage was limited. In contrast, if the lava flow had been directed toward a city, the damage would have been catastrophic. As we continue to learn more about volcanoes, we're developing new ways to monitor them and predict their behavior. This will help us to better protect ourselves from future eruptions. We may never be able to prevent volcanic eruptions, but we can take steps to minimize their impact. With careful monitoring and planning, we can help to keep people safe from the power of volcanoes. Volcanoes are one of the most powerful forces on Earth. They can cause widespread destruction, but they can also be incredibly beautiful. With careful monitoring and planning, we can help to ensure that people are safe from their destructive power. As we continue to learn more about volcanoes, we'll be able to better predict their behavior and protect ourselves from their wrath. Thanks for watching.